Excuse me.
Your name and title and how to spell your name?
Okay, it's Craig Goodman, C-R-A-I-G, Goodman, G-O-O-D-M-A-N, and I'm Chief of Police of Waco ISD.
Okay. All right, so something a little bit like that. So Chief, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I've got about 34 years in law enforcement experience. The bulk of my career was with the Pasadena Police Department, a couple of years with the Brenham Police Department, and my last assignment was Deputy Chief with Stephen F. Austin State University in Nacogdoches, which is now part of the UT systems.
Okay. Just so you know, I am paying attention. I'm just going to my notes here. So how does it feel being here at WISD as the new chief?
I'm extremely excited about this opportunity. Waco is a great community. When I first learned about this opportunity from a mutual friend, he shared his relationship with Dr. Kincannon and how much he enjoyed working with her and thought that we'd make a great team. And so I put in, and very excited that she and the board has given me this opportunity to work in Waco. Again, a great community, and my heart and soul is into public education and doing what we can as law enforcement officers to keep our staff, students, and visitors safe. And so this is an opportunity I've been looking for, and I'm really happy to be here.
Okay.
He literally just moved this weekend.
Hey, I totally get it. So I was reading a little bit about here is your objective is to build upon that past successes and also improve in areas that are needed. What are some of those great things that's already in place here, and then what's some of those things that you would like to maybe improve on?
Well, I know that the officers have a really good relationship with the staff and the students. Of course, I want to continue to build on that. I think if in law enforcement, if we can create an environment where everyone not only perceives themselves to be safe, that they're actually safe, that it only helps in creating an environment where people are learning. They want to come to school. And years ago, when I was part of the Pasadena Police Department and we were overseeing the DARE program, I saw firsthand the relationships that our DARE officers were making with these students, that positive connection, so that when they go home in the evenings and if they come across another officer that is not a DARE officer, that relationship is there, and they're more apt to open up and visit with officers, and just, again, building those relationships with all of our citizens, regardless of their age. And that's what's key about law enforcement within the schools, having those positive relationships, because we have to keep our community safe. And if the officers have the ability to, for students that are comfortable coming to them and sharing with them any problems they might be experiencing, that's where we can make a difference. And that's what I'm looking forward to, continue to build on those positive relationships. There are things that we need to do here, continue obviously with what's going on across the nation with the critical incidences. I want to make sure our officers are well prepared for any situation they may face. So training is going to be a key component, preparing them for worst case scenarios, hoping that we never have to deal with that, but if we were, that they're able to do so in a professional manner, keeping people safe, and that's what the goal is.
Okay. And so, a little bit more real quickly on your background. Notice that you were graduated of the National FBI Academy. I mean,
that was a wonderful experience. So it's probably the premier leadership management training that an officer, a police officer from around the world can attend. So the FBI National Academy offers, again, it's people from around the world, and it's a 2.5 months in Quantico, Virginia, where we're exposed to the latest and greatest leadership techniques and skills that are needed. I actually had a person next door to me was from Sri Lanka, an officer from across the hall was from Egypt, my roommate was from New York, and it's a great way to meet people, to hear what works well in their department or works well in their country. The teaching and training that we get is top notch. It's law enforcement experts from around the country teach at the FBI National Academy. And again, it's one of the most prestigious programs, along with a program called LIMIT, which is Law Enforcement Management Institute of Texas. It's very similar to what the FBI offers, but this program is based in Huntsville and addresses the leadership needs specific to Texas police officers.
Okay. Anything you kind of learned there that is very important, just, I mean, in the work as in the school district?
Absolutely. So the key really for any law enforcement agency, whether it's the city, the county, or school district is the collaborative efforts that we as first responders do. We have to have great communication. They're willing to come to each other's aid, work in concert with each other. And that's what's so key about a training we called Alert, where any officer from around the country, if they're responding to a critical incident, we all know to do the same thing. And so I'm looking forward to building those relationships here within the Waco community. But that's what the FBI National Academy taught me in Limit, the importance of relationships, partnerships, that collaborative effort, not only with first responders, but also with our administrators, in this case, teachers, principals. You know, how do we work well with them in keeping our students and staff safe? So again, it's a team effort, and that's what I hope to, and that's what I will bring as Waco ISD Chief of Police, is working collaboratively with others to keep our students safe.
And how important, you know, like today, you're here meeting with teachers aid, students. How important is that community involvement for you and your officers in the school district, not just as looking at like, oh my goodness, it's a police officer, I'm in trouble, but
Right.
that community engagement?
So any agency who is not in partnership with the community is not going to be successful. So you hear the term community policing. We have to build those relationships. If I ever get to a point where I as Chief of Police think I know everything about law enforcement, it's time for me to retire. What's key is always learning, keep an open mind, being a good listener, and building those relationships. So someone as a teacher may have a different perspective on safety that need to share that maybe I was unaware of, or a parent. So again, building those relationships. You want to be able to have those lines of communications open, where people again are willing to come to you and say, hey, I'm experiencing this with this person, can you help me? If you don't have those relationships where people are comfortable coming to you, again, you're not going to be successful. So I would argue any law enforcement agency in the state of Texas and around the country, if they're not building those relationships with the community, both being a good listener and valuing their input and how we can do things better, and then sharing with them what we do as law enforcement, helping a citizen understand what is the role of a police officer. If we're not doing those, if it's not a two-way street where we're trying to work in concert with one another, then we're not going to be successful. So it's key to have those relationships throughout the community.
Okay. And I mean, here you are, second day on the job, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you're hitting the ground running. I mean, here you are visiting Dean Holland School. I mean, I guess it's I don't know where I was going with that. You know where I was going with that?
Busy.
Yes. I mean, walked in the door. I mean, you're hitting the ground running. I mean, what's that like?
So if you knew me a little more personally, you would understand I love this. I thrive in this. I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy where we can make changes to make improvements. I think that's important. My goal is to empower everybody at the police department to do what we need to do, again, to keep people safe, so that they enjoy coming to work, where there's meaning behind what their job is as a law enforcement officer. And so, again, by meeting people and coming and doing things like this and meeting the kids, having a better understanding what their perspective might be on school safety, it's very important.
Okay. And then, very big department in the WISD Police Department. There are nearly 50 staff members. That includes police officers, peace officers, security guards, crosswalk guards, and a canine officer. I mean, where are we at? Kind of, are all those positions filled, or are y'all still looking to fill some positions within the district?
So we are, in fact, looking for additional people. I think we have 6 people who are in the pipeline of being considered to be hired. We officially have, I think, 10 openings in law enforcement as in law enforcement position. So I am looking for those people who want a career in working in the schools and learning how to be a professional law enforcement officer and contributing to the community in a positive way. So again, that we're helping everybody to remain safe. So if you are interested, please go to our website, wacoisd.org, and let us know. We'd love to visit with you.
Okay. And I know, very big district, a lot of parents, and one of their one of the big concerns is my kid safe in school? what do you got to say to the parents on safety as far as what you and your department brings to the school district?
So the Waco ISD Police Department, including myself, all the officers, we're committed to working around the clock to make sure that the students and the staff and our visitors, our community is safe. We will work tirelessly to, consider if there's a new suggestion on how we can improve safety, we'll obviously entertain it. We're going to constantly review what are the current safety protocols that we have in place. Policies, what are our policies? Are they up to date? To make sure, again, that we're doing everything as first responders to be able to do what needs to be done in the schools. Another key component is working with Waco Police Department and the county and all of our first responders, EMS, hospitals, to make sure that if we do have a critical incident, that everybody's functioning well, that we're all doing what we need to do. And so I look forward to that. I look forward to building those relationships. It's key to our success, because Waco ISD Police Department cannot be an island of itself. We have to have those partners, both in the medical field, law enforcement. That's the only way that anybody can be successful. So I look forward to meeting everyone and the key players and building those relationships. But please, I want the community to know they have a committed chief of police that will work with its staff to do everything we humanly can to not only keep our students safe, but help them to thrive in a very positive environment where they are in fact learning and they want to learn and they enjoy coming to school. That's my goal that was my goal at Stephen F. Austin with our adult learners, and also for everybody here at Waco ISD.
Okay. And with having, that working within education and field with, how well does that, help you and prepare you for this district here?
So-
Well, I think, and your family.
Right.
Involved in public ed.
Right. So as my role at Deputy Chief with Stephen F. Austin, we had a charter school and early childhood lab on campus. And I and the team, we worked very hard to make sure we were meeting all the requirements of House Bill 3, the Senate bills, and very proud of what we accomplished there, from panic alarms in every classroom, radio communications that teachers had directly with our dispatch, working on intruder test, testing the processes, the policies, everything, making sure that we were functioning well. And I will continue, that was on a much smaller scale, but I'll continue and take those experiences on this scale and make sure that we're doing those intruder tests to make sure that people can't get into the schools. We're making sure that the door locks are functioning like they're supposed to. Putting cameras where they can help us in response. We also did labeling of each entrance and exits at the charter school, and I did that as Chief of Police with Brenham, where every entrance at the schools was labeled so that first responders, if an incident's occurring on the north side of a school, for example, we might say N1 for North Door 1. That will help first responders get to the door quicker, right? So I want to look at what we can do here and to help first responders to get to a location quicker. So parents should know that we're going to constantly review what we're currently doing, what can we do better, study the different technologies that evolve daily on how we can improve the safety, and just know they need to know and be mindful that that's what we're going to be doing to help keep everybody safe.
One great thing I do know is that I think that WISD has done a pretty good job.
Oh, absolutely.
Of labeling those doors and everything, because I worked on some stories last year on the security and everything, and I was quite amazed to what is already in place here at WISD.
So my first impressions are very positive of what the school district has done. They are doing not only what's required of them, but they're going above and beyond, and I will continue that. And I'd like to tell you that really throughout my whole life, both my parents, my mother was one of the first female superintendents in the state of Texas. Her name is Lynn Hell. She actually has a school named after her in the Arlington School District. And my dad, Ralph Goodman, was Director of Fine Arts in the Alding District. And he has an elementary school that was renamed after him. And so throughout my whole life, I've seen the importance of how dedicated people, professionals, can contribute positively to our children's lives. And that's why I'm so excited about being here, because I want to be part of that. I want to be part of the team that is helping building our kids' future and helping creating the leaders of our country here at Waco ISD.
think one of the things I was most impressed, and I talked to Brad about this when I looked at your resume, was all the different areas in which you're certified, the narcotics, the police bicyclist, all the different things that you bring to the district that just, I think 34 years of spanning a career, you know, that he just brings all of that, so.
Yeah,
we're
so tell me a
excited.
little bit more about some of the certificates, what, you know, the
Certifications,
narcotics.
yeah.
Right. So
and all of that.
I was very blessed because in each of the agencies I've worked with, in Pasadena, for example, I was in some capacity, whether it was an officer, sergeant, lieutenant, I got to experience the gang task force, being a canine officer, and both being a canine officer and serving the gang task force. One of the most exciting assignments for me was in our community service division, where we were in the DARE program. So we were in the schools. We did life skills. We had a junior citizens police academy where we took junior and senior students, and for I think it was at least 8 weeks they would come and learn about what it meant to be a police officer. And so what I learned was, by building those relationships, they're lifelong relationships. You can go to a student who was in the DARE program 20 years ago, and they'll tell you what their DARE officer's name was and the lessons that they learned. You'll be in a commander of our narcotics division. You talk about something that was new to me and eye-opening. You know, so I got to see all extremes of law enforcement, and where challenges exist in certain assignments, what is beneficial to police departments, and again, those outreach programs to the public. All that contributed to really giving me great opportunities to be a well-rounded law enforcement professional. And that's what I want to bring here to the Waco ISD, is to share those experiences and to help people grow. And that's what I'm looking forward with the team. We have a great group of dedicated professionals who really, they're a sponge and they want to learn. And I want to share my experiences, share with them what worked for me, share with them mistakes I've made in the past that I've learned from, that I hope that they'll learn from. So that's my goal. I think that's one of the biggest things that I can bring to the table, is my 34 years in law enforcement experiences. What's gone well, what I could have done differently and done better, and that's what I will share with and help our guys, again, to continue that growth of professionalism, so that we're all doing what we need to do to benefit this wonderful community.
That's perfect soundbite.